and county and state. Check the time. Okay, we've got some people logging on. That's cool. Well, I'm happy with that. I never know what we're going to get. You know, we just log on and we just hope for the best, right?
That's right. Go with the flow.
I know. That's what we do. Yes. And so welcome everyone to our March office hours. My name is Sheila Plogger, and I'm project coordinator with Marshall University on the chronic disease team. And today we have our special guest from Wyoming County, West Virginia, Miss Kristi Halsey, and she's the executive director of the Rural Appalachian Improvement League, which the acronym we just say RAIL.
Right.
Which works just fine. And this diabetes, Kristi is the also the coordinator of the Diabetes Coalition there. And some of you folks that are on with us today may remember Charlene Cook or Sarah Goswick. They were coordinators in past history with the Diabetes Coalition there in Wyoming County, West Virginia. And Beth, I see that you're on, and I know you're very aware of who these folks are. They've done the line dancing and all that type of stuff. And when we used to go to Gatlinburg and do our conferences, Kristi, I know that you probably are aware of this, but Charlene would always do a great presentation with all the great things that's happening at RAIL. And there's even more great things happening now, which is why I wanted to get you to hop on board. But Kristi today will be describing how the Mullens Opportunity Center, which we call the MOC, they call the MOC, and their coalition there in Wyoming County have successfully engaged people who are in recovery through a variety of lifestyle, healthy lifestyle programs. And so, Kristi, I'll let you just move forward. Just sit back, relax, guys. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat box, or you can just raise your hand or whatever, and Kristi will answer your questions. So I'll let you take it away, Kristi. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila, and I'm glad to be here today. I appreciate each one of you. And as Sheila said, I'm the executive director of RAIL, and we'll just move right along here and tell you about us. Just for a little bit of background, this picture here is Dewey Houck, and he was the founding member of RAIL. He served as our president of the board until January 2023. But we are a 501c3 nonprofit located in Mullens, West Virginia, and in Wyoming County. And this nonprofit was created in response to the 2001 flood. And so we've been going strong ever since then. And this man right here is the foundation of it all. I want to give him honor.
Yeah.
Okay. We offer a lot of different healthy lifestyle activities. I'm going to be talking about some of the activities that are physical, as well as some that are emotional as well. Here we have a slide of our gentle yoga. This was just from a few weeks ago. We have it every Monday at 4 p.m. You'll notice the lady in the wheelchair, she comes down from Raleigh County to the MOC at least once a week. And she loves to participate in things down there. And I have her permission to say so. She was an IV drug user. and she became septic, and it got inside her spinal cord, and she can only take like 100 steps at a time. But from doing gentle yoga, her physical therapist had told her that that they were very good exercises for her to do, daily. So that she told me one day when she was leaving, I was helping her get into the car, and she said, "You don't know what coming down here does for me." And so we love it on Chrissy days, is what we call it. West Virginia Win, or Win West Virginia. I'm sorry, that's women. I've got it in my notes here. I had to write some notes so I don't forget anything. But it's Women and Infant Narcotic Rehabilitation Program, and they've asked us to facilitate weekly or bi-weekly gentle yoga for their clients at the Mount Hope Beltex Recovery Group. So I thought that was pretty exciting. Some of their
Who did you say that was? Kristi, who did you say? Win? Okay.
Win, W-I-N,
Okay.
W-V. And
Okay.
they have a Facebook page if you want to go check them out.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
They are a good resource with us. We partner in a lot of things.
Okay.
So that's gentle yoga. And like I said, that was a few weeks ago outside. It was beautiful. I like it when we can do it outside. All right, and here's the famous line dancing. We have that on Tuesdays at noon and then Thursdays at 6, and you'll see the instructor there on the bottom left, Patty Scott. She is awesome. That smile that she has is infectious, and I'll tell you, when we are dancing, I can just feel endorphins releasing from my body. It's just wonderful. It's fun and it's exercise, and you don't even feel like you're exercising when you do it. It doesn't matter if you can't keep in step or whatever, you just move. So we had just the one day a week, and then there was community, the community wanted one in the evening too, so she graciously provided that. The pictures that you see here are from a group of students from Duquesne University. We have a William and Mary, Duquesne. There's been other colleges who come down and do mission work at the mock, and they stay here, and that's always what they want, is line dancing. The next slide is about community events that we have. In particular, I want to include the Love Project, which was in December. Let me see where I have that on here. 3,080 people were served during that event, and it was from Wyoming County and surrounding counties. We gave away food, toys, bikes, hygiene products, clothing. And there at the bottom, if you'll look, that's a picture of the volunteers from the day before the event. We had even more.
Unreal. I mean, is that in the mock right there? Did you get
Yes,
all
Sheila,
in
that's
there?
in the gym.
Oh my gosh.
I felt at times it was a COVID breeding ground, but it was wonderful. Kids were able to have what normally have. We had food. Let me show you this. We had Feed the Children brought down. We had food, we had diapers, we had baby products, hygiene items, just anything you could think of that the person would need. We had that day. It rained and stormed on the day of the event, and we had to, the power was out. We had to provide services in the dark with flashlights until about 1:30 that day. But there you see people waiting in line, to get in. People started lining up at like 5 o'clock that morning. And then this gentleman on the left, I don't even know his name, but I wanted to give him a shout out because he drove that big tractor trailer through Mullens.
Oh,
Didn't take down
gosh.
one telephone pole. So anyway, I just think that it was a remarkable day. It was a humbling day. And it was a busy, stressful day, but it was worth it.
Yeah. And for anybody who doesn't, I know that everybody on here are from rural communities. And in Wyoming County, trust me, when you look at that big semi tractor trailer, I don't know how. I barely get my SUV down the streets.
Right.
Because they're so narrow in that turns, and it's one
Yes.
way. You've got one
Yep.
way everywhere.
That's right. We had 4 tractor trailers that came down. We started unloading. The day of the event was on a Saturday. We started work on Thursday, getting things in place. And, I agree with you, Sheila. If I'm driving my husband's truck, I don't drive through the town part of Mullens. It's stressful. But anyway, that was a great event that we had down there. And we have other community projects as well. We have the Dream Tree every December, and that's from gifts from the Greenbrier. And we always offer a meal, when the families come down. Our community is just outstanding, and people volunteer their time, their resources, and it's just a wonderful community to be a part of. We also have the self-measured blood pressure program, and that is Choose Healthy, Act Now, Get Excited is the change in acronym. Here we have Patty and Terry. They won their goal incentives, and they have SMART goals, and then they just have to, meet a few of them to be able to get the incentive. That was at the end of last year. We were going to start one up in January, but most of the participants wanted to wait till spring. So we're going to do that. We have a few more Fitbits that we're going to use as incentives to give away. So they are right. Those two, of course, Patty is, because she teaches line dance. But Terry here in the bottom, on the picture in the bottom, he always participates in gentle yoga. He comes down and walks. We have a lot of walkers in our community, which I'll talk to you about that. We have community health fairs. We're actually going to have one May 19th. And at the health fairs, we have all kinds of vendors set up. And we do A1C testing. At one of our events, we had strolling colon, and people could walk through a big inflatable and colon and learn about colon health. We have eye exams. We have different behavioral health tables set up, and as well as hepatitis testing, social service agencies, and we always serve a healthy lunch. The lady on the top her name is Sharon Allen, and she is a peer recovery support specialist, and she works for Compass Counseling. And I've known Sharon for quite a few years, and she gave a wonderful talk about the value of a penny. And she told this story of this one penny had some type of a mistake, and it was worth so much more than just a penny. And basically what she was, the moral of the story was that, what some people would throw away in people, that person still has value. And so she has a Facebook page, and it's just under Sharon Allen. And I would really like for you guys to look her up and look at her before and after picture. She's very inspirational. If anybody would ever need her to come talk, she does a wonderful job, and she's lived it and lived through it. And she's someone that's more than a conqueror. So she's wonderful. I feel teary.
Yes, it's a challenge. I mean, it's a lifelong challenge. And when you think of health and wellness in recovery, it is possible. It is
Yes.
possible, but it really takes the entire community to really rally and engage around that and support them, because, they are valuable. They are a
Yeah.
valuable part of our communities. And if a family has not been through that, it's one in a million.
Yes.
The stories like that, and people with a heart like that, are the ones who really can make change in
Yes.
someone else's life and really make a
Absolutely.
difference in that, because it's a battle in itself.
Yes.
It's a battle in
Mhm.
itself. We had
Yes.
a question, Kristi.
Okay.
Someone, Dana wanted to know, who provides your eye exams?
WVU is who did ours.
Okay.
I can get the information because I've got all that on file, and WVU is who comes down
Okay.
and does that.
Yeah, and if you'll share that with me and get that contact, then that way I can just kind of send it off.
Okay, I'll do that.
So
Yep.
that'll be great. I'll make note of that too, and put that in the summary.
At one of the health fairs we participate in, they did breast exams as well, but we haven't had that at one that we've hosted. But I would like to do that. I'm trying to see if we could get and they're booked up, but a mobile dental unit, to come down.
Mhm.
That's something that I'm looking into as well.
I know West Virginia Health Right.
Health Right.
Health Right does dental exams. I know they do here in Boone County. And
Okay.
for some of the folks that are on, we have from Kentucky, and we also have from Tennessee as well as Mississippi on our office hours, Kristi. What would you recommend? Who would you recommend that if they were interested in eye exams, or maybe somebody on here out of state? If you've had eye exams, who was your contact? I mean, who is the best contact to get those eye exams done for health fairs? Because I know everybody does health fairs most of the time, at least once a year. So what sort of resources?
Southwestern Developmental Educational Development out of McDowell County has connections with all kinds of people, and he's the one who got us the WVU eye exams. And a lot of times once you have one health fair and then you network, that's a big plus as well. We had West Virginia State that come down for a few of our health fairs, and she was one of the ladies who was working on getting us a dental van, but I haven't heard anything back from her, and I've reached out to her and haven't heard anything back again. So I need to go to plan B, and maybe just what you said, to contact Health Right and see.
Okay.
So let's see here. Another thing that we do down at the MOC is we manage kayak inputs along the Gandot River. And here you see some volunteers working on just that. My boys like to kayak, and they said that the input behind the MOC is one of the best that they've been in. So we like to, take care of what we have naturally around us as well. It's important to do that. And that's, that is a part of health as well. Besides, the obvious of exercise, but just your mental wellness, getting out in nature.
And I know, I'm not quite sure, but I think in the past, and you guys probably still do this, do you guys not also do like a river cleanup and things like that? Or you guys?
We do.
part of all of that. So that, because at one time you all didn't even have accessibility there to get
No.
down into the river. And I believe the Boy Scouts
Yes.
came in and done all of that.
They did. Yep. We have different college groups too who come in and help us maintain, because we have 4 or 5. I think one of them we just we relinquished to a fire department so they could put a fire department in there. But the one that's near Wyoming East High School, everyone always raves about it too, because we have a picnic area that was built by an NCCC team there. And so, you know, it's beneficial for the community, and tourism is, you know, on the rise in this area because of the trails. So it's just important to keep everything looking nice and accessible.
Yeah. Yeah. And keeping, you know, keeping everything. I mean, and it's low cost too. I mean, if you have walking trails and hiking trails, and you can engage folks, you know, in volunteering. And my question is are the folks that you engage, I know it's a mix. There's not always, it's not all recovery, but they're part of the community, you know, as you're engaging. But do you work with specific groups like Sharon Allen's group to get your volunteers, as well as you know, they're part of, I guess, the physical activity and any of the other programs that you do too, right?
We do. And there's Sound Mind, that's a women's sober living home that's in Mullens, and they participate in all of our programs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's just community members too. I'll show you a slide here in just a few of some gentlemen who come down and walk. You know, it's not just about recovery,
Right?
but recovery is a big part of who we serve, because that's a big issue in our area. Mm-hmm. But it's not just recovery.
Right.
All right. Okay, this isn't anything to do with our healthy lifestyle, but I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about it. It's we were the recipients of an ARC grant, and so our grant is named Recycle, Repurposed Recovery in Appalachia. We are developing a dinner theater in Mullens. We have an outdoor stage built by an NCCC team, an indoor stage because we're in a school. And so what we want to do is, you know, for the community, of course, to have this dinner theater. But what we're hoping to do is pair people in recovery with people in the community to forge relationships, break down barriers, break down stigma. You know, we're purchasing a van. We'll have it next week. We'll be able to go and pick people up for our programs who don't have a ride in our area. And what these bracelets are, I think you've seen them before, Sheila. I think.
I bought 2.
Yeah, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
The bigger beads, like at the picture in the top, there's the bead in between the 2 white beads. Those are made out of cardboard, recycled cardboard, like Little Debbie cakes, or cardboard, or soda, cardboard, granola bars. And anyway, people who are in recovery, or just youth who, you know, as a prevention program, come in and make these bracelets, cardboard, and then they tell a little story is on the tags for each one who made it, and then we sell them for $10, and the artisan gets 5, and then us as a nonprofit gets the other 5. So that's a pretty neat thing, I think, that we do. For our grant as well, we're going to order some material from Hazelden that's evidence-based to do life skills with them as we work on the bracelets. And that's just another conduit for connection. You know, that's Absolutely. That's the main purpose of that. Okay, now here's just some of our walkers. We have quite a few walkers who come down, but I'll just go through the list and then I'll talk about the gentleman over here. Additional rail programs, of course, we do dining with diabetes. We finished up a 4-week course in February, and Stephanie Lusk is the facilitator of that group, and she's through WVU Extension, and she doesn't have another opening until July, and she's going to change it up a little bit from what we did this past time, but we'll have another one in July. We had, I think, 9 participants for that, so that was pretty good. She just taught us how to eat healthy, different recipes, demonstrations, and then we shared a meal together. So that was good. We have community walk, and here's some of our walkers over here. The gentleman that's solo on the bottom, he is 80 years old, and he had open heart surgery. After he got, recovered from that, he started coming down to the mock and walking every day. And he's lost 30 pounds, and his lung doctor said that his lungs have greatly increased capacity. So, and he told me just yesterday, he said that he credits coming down to the mock and walking for that. And then the other 2 gentlemen, the one in the middle just got a hole-in-one yesterday. I told him that I'd be sure after we took his picture that I'd be sure and tell the group that he got a hole-in-one.
That's great. That's great. And do they walk there, or do they do this outside most when the weather's warm, or do they just utilize the gym and things like that? And for folks who are on the call, this was an old school, and years ago, the community didn't want to. If my history. I'm in the blanks here, but years ago, they didn't want to see this kind of go to waste. And so folks got together. Dewey was very instrumental in doing this and getting grant funding, and they refurbished this old grade school. And so it serves as really a hub in the community. And so these services are just all part of what happens out of this hub, basically. It's amazing the transformation that took place with this years ago, and just to see where it's at today. So go ahead, Kristi. Sorry.
Thank you. No, I think it's exciting too. So these gentlemen, they come in and they walk inside. Now, when it gets really warm, sometimes they'll walk outside, but I think they just like coming in. You see on here that we have the Attorney General mobile office. They come down once a month, and the reason why I skipped, it ties into these gentlemen. The lady from Morrissey's office told me one day, she said, this place has a vibe like no other. She said, I really want you to meet him in person, and I want him to come down here and see what all you guys have going on. And I think that's what these guys here, they just like coming in. We come in, they come in, we talk, they engage, they go. We have museums upstairs that I neglected to write down on our other programs. We have a coal museum, railroad, sports museum, because Mullens is a big sports town, or Wyoming County is a big sports county. So, they like to come in and, just reminisce about things. And one's a coach, the guy on the right, the other 2 are railroad and coal miners. So they love to come down and, just reminisce and talk, and really they teach us. They come in and tell us about things and teach us. So they're a part of our community walkers. We have about 11 that come in regularly and walk, but these, I must say, I'm biased, but they're my faves right here. We have a community garden and Tops that's taking off pounds sensibly. They meet once a week. We have a community garden. We're starting to plant some seeds, to do some herbs, especially this year. Sound Mind ladies last year came down and planted a garden, and we're able to reap the benefits of that. We have Smart Recovery Group. That's a peer-led recovery group, and that's from Janine Jones, and she's with a company called Family Options. And she's inspirational too. Once a month, we have Black Lung meetings, and people help navigate those who are wanting to apply for benefits. We have an education center, and there you can get your GED. You can work on certificates that will help you to become employed, like food handlers, customer service certification, office certification, different things like that. A good story with that is our first graduate of GED ended up coming to us through Empowered Employment, which is, we have 4 positions through Workforce, and Workforce pays their salary. They work for us for 6 months and can build a resume and get a good reference. So he graduated through, he was in recovery. Let me back up, in recovery, graduated through our education center, and now is working through Empowered Employment with us. So that's a good story. Yes.
Yeah.
We have DMV, DUI safety courses. We have 5 AmeriCorps positions there at the mock. And then I've already told you about Empowered Employment, and then Southwestern Community Action. I think their headquarters are out of Huntington, but they provide over 55. If someone's over 55, they can come in and work so many hours, like 25 hours is what it is right now. So that's us in a nutshell. I'm sure I could have thought of some other things, but those are what's pertinent, I feel.
Thank you, Kristi. Does anyone have any questions for Kristi? She covered a lot.
I did. I'm sorry if it was too long.
That's okay. Yeah, because this is great. This is great. Great information.
You can look us up too on railwv.org.
I'll put that in there.
And we have a Facebook page. There's a lot of Facebooks out there that are connected with our agency, and they're wrong. The one that's right is, it'll say MOC, Mullens Opportunity Center, and then it'll have rail in parentheses. You'll see the one that has updated information on it.
The mock Mullens Opportunity Center.
Yeah, want me to put it in the...
Yeah, if you don't care. Yeah. Does anybody else, do you guys work or work with any organizations currently that are involved in recovery with your diabetes coalitions? Okay, so Janet doesn't. Janet actually is from the Lake Cumberland Health District there in Kentucky. And Janet, you've been with us for a very long time. Yeah, so anything that you guys, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot them out to Kristi. If you don't, we'll stay on for a little while anyway. We're ending. Yes, Janet.
I was just going to say, when you was asking about the eye exam, it was before COVID. We had a really the Lions Club was really instrumental in providing us with services, and if they couldn't do it, they would have other great networking. They would send me to other ways that I could find people. So if you have a Lions Club, they are wonderful to partner with if you have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anyone else ever worked with the Lions Club?
I haven't, I'm glad that she mentioned that.
Yeah, because
That's
they
the
are,
one.
I mean, I
Mhm.
know they have branches all over West Virginia for sure, and that would be helpful. Thank you, Janet. Next month, I think we have Vicki Alberson from the Lake Cumberland Health District. She works with Janet and Amy, I believe. Amy, are you're with Janet and Vicki, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. I thought so. So Vicki Alberson with the Lake Cumberland Health District will be with us next month for our April office hours. And I'm not sure yet what all she's going to be talking about, but we'll be sending a flyer out to everyone early enough so that you can log on and join us with that. If we don't have any other questions, what I will do is once the recording becomes available, I'll send that out along with the PowerPoint slides, Kristi's information. And then Kristi, if you can get the information sent to me about the WVU
Yes.
for Dana there, I can share that with her and her contact and all of that. So if we don't have any other questions, guys,
I was going to try to look up the lady. She said, did you say her name was Sharon Allen on Facebook? Because I couldn't
Yes.
find her.
Yes. Sharon Allen. Let me see. Hold on, and I'll look her up.
okay.
I was going to look her up, but
Can you see? Look at the difference. That was right before she went into treatment.
wow.
She is a beautiful soul.
We have in West Virginia, there in the past we had some funding that came through, and it kind of it helped our diabetes coalitions address folks who were in recovery, and Kristi, most recently, and I want to ask you, because you had a good question the other day about self-measured blood pressure programs, and I know you guys do the Change program, and you asked if there was any resources or anything out there about how to get folks who were in recovery engaged in self-measured blood pressure, and really, there's not a whole lot of resources that I found other than, they're part of the community, and so the more screening you do, that's what I encourage Kristi to do is, our communities have people who are in recovery. And those folks not only battle addiction, but they also battle cardiovascular disease and diabetes and all the other things that other people encounter. And so the screening, in a self-measured blood pressure program or through your health fairs or whatever, was the best advice. I don't know if anyone else who's on the call have any other resources that they'd like to share with us or not, but
that's true. We need to make it a part of our intakes or screenings. That's a good point.
Yeah, and it's the same with diabetes, when you because it really is. I could imagine that it would be even harder to manage, because we all know that when you have multiple chronic conditions, one kind of falls on the other one. And so, the more you screen, I think, and engage folks in healthy lifestyle programs,
Mhm.
whether it be nutrition or whatever, they all have special needs. And
Mhm.
folks who are in recovery really is in that category of special needs,
Mhm.
because they're battling not only the chronic disease, but they're also battling the disease of addiction,
Right.
which then
Absolutely.
complicates it all, you know,
Mhm.
in a healthy recovery.
Right.
Yeah. So,
I talked to a fellow the other day, and well, he's in one of our DUI classes, and he said that that he didn't know he was so unhealthy until he got clean, because he just, you know, he ignored signs and symptoms of things, you know, and now he's having to take care of his health, which is a good thing. But, you know, he made a little bit of a joke out of it, but it's a valid point.
sure. Kristi, maybe you, let me ask you this, for anyone who might be interested in engaging, folks who are in recovery. I know there's funding opportunities that are out there, that kind of help support that.
Mhm.
What advice would you have?
I think really networking is important, you know, and two, to treat people just as that, as people, you know, when you're talking to someone. I think that that's very important. Um, Seeing potential. I remember years ago, early in my career, I was with this young girl, and I remember seeing potential that like just below the surface, but she didn't even know it was there, you know. And so it was something to work with her, and till she began to have hope. And then after that, that hope was birthed into belief, and that's really when change started to come. You know, it has to come within the person, within themselves. So I think, you know, meeting people where they're at, networking, you know, getting the Appalachian Regional Commission has all kinds of money, you know, and that's who we got our latest grant from.
Yeah, and that's really been their focus for the last few years.
Mhm.
It's really kind of changed, and so they've had a lot of focus towards targeting folks who
Recovery.
are in recovery. And you know, for our diabetes coalitions, you know, you can even think about that, you know, as engaging, you know, that's another resource to help you do your programs, because
Mhm.
this is also, you know, a group of people that need to have, they have diabetes too,
Yes,
you know.
right.
And
Mhm.
so, you know, you can actively engage them in your community, and it really is, it just helps transform their lives altogether and your community. It
Right, it does. And just like our slogan is, you know, down at Rail, healthy people make a healthy community. And our community will only be as strong as our people are. So that's what we're trying to do down here in Mullens, is target individuals one by one.
Yeah, making a change for sure.
Mhm.
Any questions? Any other questions before we end for the day? We're ending at 12:45. You guys have 15 more minutes. Go out and take a nice walk. Yeah. All right. So guys, we'll see you next month. And if you think of anything afterwards, just give me a holler, and I'll shoot the question.